Hey YouTube, Peter Piper, the True Light, coming to you at 18:06 hours Eastern Standard Time, -5 Greenwich Mean Time for my global subscribers. How's everyone today? Got the rusticated Savinelli, and in it I am smoking some dried out crumble cake, John Cotton's double pressed Kentucky. Not sure if I caught it on camera or not, but I've got tons of bees collecting pollen from my flower bush there and my magnolia bush. And my wife just told me what these are, and I forgot. But the bees are busy. It's a beautiful thing. And life goes on. Mm-hmm. So, today is the day of salary reductions. And a good friend of mine who's very well off, actually. He's in sales, so he makes $250K plus a year, just in commissions. I think on top of his salary with commission, not on top of his salary, together with his salary and commissions, but they're reducing his salary by 15%. And I got a letter from my CEO today saying that they were reducing salaries by 10%, but giving 2 extra weeks of vacation to salaried employees. And that was in the first paragraph. And after everyone had a heart attack in my division after reading that, they said that my division wouldn't be affected. So for now, I'm good. Full salary and overtime if I want it. I don't really want it. So that's that. Kind of ho-hum otherwise. Reading a book called Dark Sun by Richard Rhodes on the making of the hydrogen bomb. Why, you ask? Well, in 1982, I started watching a PBS miniseries called Oppenheimer. I'm going to put a link in the bucket below if you're interested in watching the series. I was a pretty young man at the time. I was let's see, 82, I was 26. Still deciding what I was going to do for a career, basically. Well, I knew I wanted to work in electronics, but I had no idea that I would ever go so far as to take up engineering. In this particular series, which, by the way, to my friends across the pond, was produced by BBC, it's an excellent television series. Sort of like a docudrama. It chronicled the life of J. Robert Oppenheimer from his early days as a professor at Berkeley, California. And he later got tapped to head up the Manhattan Project. Not the drink, but the actual project to produce the atomic bomb, which was a fission weapon. And after they produced the bomb and dropped it on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the the cat was out of the bag, essentially, in the area of nuclear research, and they went from fission to fusion and produced the hydrogen bomb, which is which is several orders of magnitude more destructive. And although a fission weapon has been used in actual warfare in World War II, hydrogen bomb never has been. But I grew up in the 1960s and 1970s and 1980s, if you can call that growing up. Yeah, it is. I'm always growing up. We had basically an arms race and a Cold War with Soviet Union. And if you think COVID-19 is a threat to humanity, I grew up wondering whether I would see a mushroom cloud out my window. Because that would have ended everything. And there's still a threat. Certainly a threat with regard to rogue nations if they were ever to grab hold of that technology. But thankfully, detonating a nuclear weapon is a very complex process. And we do have good controls, I think. Perhaps not good enough, but I think we have good controls with regard to being the police force of the earth and making sure that countries like North Korea and certainly countries like Iran don't obtain the ability to deliver nuclear weapons. I think that terrorism is a threat if they ever get hold of one because they're irrational. The terrorist threat Certainly, the Islamic terrorist threat is an irrational threat. Whereas the United States and the Soviet Union were two semi-rational entities, we both, I think, wanted to live and wanted our progeny to propagate further, and understood and came to a sense of reason with regard to these issues. But getting back to the Oppenheimer series, I would say that inspired me to become an engineer because what they were doing seemed really exciting. A bunch of guys standing around a blackboard trying to figure out equations in physics, the mystery of trying to figure out things like that. Oppenheimer particularly was an inspiration to many of his students, which later went on to join him on the Manhattan Project. And he was able to inspire the curiosity in people to explore, to innovate, to produce, even though it was something that was ultimately destructive. We won World War II. And at the time, of course, Oppenheimer being a Jew was certainly expecting to try to defeat the Nazi regime because, God forbid, if they obtained the technology before we did, they would certainly use it to fulfill their objective in world domination. I think they would have used it quite freely and without much prudence in their objective to conquer the world. So we had an objective, a sincere moral objective to pursue the technology that existed or was revealed to us. And with that, I'm coming up on 14 minutes, and I think I've said enough. But check out the series when you can, and let me know what you think. God bless. Seek enlightenment. Speak the truth. Peter Piper, True Light, signing off for this 14th of April. I still haven't done my taxes. Take care, folks.